Mike Phillips grew up on his family's farm near Broadway, Virginia, and saw firsthand how soil erosion could deplete the land. He learned from his father the importance of maintaining that soil. Now in his 80s, his father still cuts the grass 2 to 3 times a week on his John Deere tractor, and Phillips has made a career of teaching and mentoring others how to develop their soil using the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Natural Resource and Conservation Service.
Everything living on this farm, below ground and above ground, is very important to me. I have to feed all around. The bees and the beef is equally important to me. People will look at them and roll, what, you don't make money off the bees, you make money off the beef. No. If I don't have the bees, it's a cycle. Everything is got to tie together just like a spider web. If we think in terms of every line in there has its function, every living thing has its function, what's behind me will be grazed, strip grazed by livestock. To me, that's ultimately the way to get the most benefits out of that cover crop.
Depending on location and need, Phillips plants a mixture of multiple plant species on his land, from just a few to as many as 20. His cattle eat it and retain very little of the potash and phosphorus in their system, so most of those nutrients are returned to the soil, which in turn feeds the subsoil beneath the ground. Techniques like that are just some of the tools farmers learn from their local NRCS office. The USDA and the NRCS are also major sources of federal funding for land improvements. Corey Williams, the local NRCS district conservationist, works with farmers in Rockingham and Page counties to help them install and improve their own conservation improvements. That's one of the key goals of a sustainable farm operation.
My view on sustainability is being able to take the resources that we have today here, whether it be soil, water, air, whatever, and be able to keep them resources the way they are and make them better. That's the whole goal, to prevent the further degradation of those resources. Here's an example here in the Shenandoah Valley. Most of the cropland here has been farmed for well over 200 years. And so there's been a significant amount of erosion in the past, so some of the soil is pretty degraded. So we don't want it to get any worse than what it is now. We want to improve that resource so that we can farm it today and be profitable, but most importantly, so that future generations from now will be able to farm this land and be profitable.
Phillips raises 80 brood cows and several bulls on his 300-acre farm, rotating those animals from pasture to pasture, and a variety of cover crops for forage are some of his best tools.
This is my queen of the crop. This is my queen here. This, because of the years, see, I've been farming, here since '77, and I went through a lot of droughts and dry spells, and the alfalfa is extremely deep rooted. Down below this field is clover, orchard grass, and other mixtures like that, legume grass. Then here's alfalfa. Then you see my summer annuals here. Basically, all these fields are roughly the same in size, and they're rectangular fields. There's no shade here, so when I graze them, when they get hot, they'll come back in for water.
Williams says there are economical ways for farmers and landowners to use sustainable techniques. One way is to cut down on the tillage or convert to no-till agriculture. No-till means you're not plowing the soil, you're planting directly into the ground with a drill. Another way to greatly reduce erosion is to plant cover crops that can later be harvested for livestock feed or just left to degrade and break down into the soil.
Typically people are planting rye or barley or wheat, or triticale is a common small grain cover crop now. So we sort of, through the NRCS, we sort of encourage people to plant multi-species cover crops. So throw a legume into that mixture or into that small grain that you've normally been planting. A common legume would be Austrian winter peas, or crimson clover, or some sort of hairy vetch variety. What that does is you're growing nitrogen, because those are legumes. They fix nitrogen from the atmosphere, and they're helping to provide nitrogen to the small grain that's growing as well as to subsequent crops.
Phillips says nurturing the soil is nothing new. Thomas Jefferson and George Washington planted buckwheat for weed control, so he's carrying on a long tradition of being passionate about soil preservation.
The first thing is the fundamental, you got to have good soils. That is the way, that's the beginning of life. You take away the soil or you deplete that soil, you're done, you're toast. To learn to respect that soil first, and everything else will work, respect and build her back. You keep her covered in the winter to keep her warm. You keep grass or forages growing over top of her head to keep her cool. Feed her well and treat her with respect. And your mother gave you life. The soil gives you life.
A new EPA report says Virginia farmers are on track for meeting a goal of reducing nutrient runoff into the Chesapeake Bay watershed by 60% in a few more years. Taking care of the soil is a big part of that success. In Rockingham County, this is Dave Miller.